Welcome to People and Peloton, the SD Worx podcast where cycling and business come together. In every episode, we put two conversations next to each other, one from the boardroom and one from the Peloton. Together, we'll discover their similarities and what both can learn from each other. This episode is about setbacks, about change you did not plan for, about reorganizations in uncertain times, about that moment where you realize the strategy deck is nice, but reality just walked in and reshuffled the cards. And today we'll unpack what resilience and change really look like, not just in the body, but in the mind. How leaders create calm when pressure rises. How teams protect focus when momentum disappears. And what you do on Monday morning when plan A is gone. My name is Dorien Leyers, and joining me today are Erwin Janssen, Team Director at Team SD Worx-Protime, and Gille Sebrechts, Chief Digital Officer and Executive Vice President at SD Worx.
Of course, it was a dream to sign with SD Worx-Protime. So it was quite already the second camp that I had to take a step back. I couldn't train so much anymore, and everybody keeps training and started racing, and I just all you wanted to do is do the same, because it's where your heart is, the racing. Especially the classic season is something I love, so it was hard to miss out. You just try to keep focused, and rehab was of course really important. I tried to focus on the small steps that I was making, even though it was a long, I think 2.5 months that I couldn't really bike so much. So it was quite hard, yeah. It's difficult, especially now with social media. You see everybody doing their trainings, doing the races. But of course, it was motivating to see the team win races, do good in races, because it made me eager to work hard on the rehab and try to get back as fast as possible. And also I had some contact with my colleagues, my teammates, which was really nice that they could text me now and then, to feel the support from them. And also other people around me, my family and friends. Just really stay focused and notice the small steps. And then, believe that you will come back stronger.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Very welcome, very welcome. Erwin, we discovered Julia's story right before the introduction. So let me start with you. I'm wondering, what's your first 7 days protocol, let's say, when something like that happens, when injury strikes the team?
Yeah, first of all, you have to check with the rider. What are the problems? So you try with your medical department and the sports directors and the performance guys. You need to analyze from what is going on.
Assess the situation.
Yes. And then, of course, then we make a plan. Also, the plan how we can communicate it to the media, because that's in our business, of course, in sport business, also very important. Yeah, and then you try also to keep the trust with the rider, and also pretty fast we try to make a plan on how we can work to her recovery and what is the plan. When she can race again. That's always what they want to know. How long will it take? And
will I be back 100%? That's also what they want to know, probably.
Of course, that's always the big issue. And it depends, of course, on the kind of problem that they have. But that's our job, to bring them most of the time even better back than they get into the injury.
How does a rider recover, maybe mostly mentally, I'm wondering, because they live towards this moment for such a long time, when it happens in a race, let's say, that very first moment. Do you go into their disappointment with them, or do they want you to be the one getting them out of it? I'm wondering.
It depends, of course, on the character of the rider. They are all different, of course, but let me say, I think it's important that you have, as a sports director, management, staff of the team, to get really into them and to feel with them, because they were really focusing and working to that big day that they needed to perform then. So yes, we try. We try to talk with them and sit with them, and of course the shoulder knock, and to help them to believe in the recovery and to come better out of it.
But join them in their disappointment. I think that's important, because it doesn't help to say, "Oh, don't worry about it."
No, of course not. Of course not. We always try to
acknowledge the tragedy.
Yeah, of course, and also analyze really what is the problem, and don't make fake news for them. So it's clear and the realistic situation. That is what we.
That's really protecting them as well.
Of course. A lot of them are also young riders in a world top team. Is for sure. If you look to Julia, that was her first year, and then it's even it's harder if you have a kind of this injury. You wanted to show it that we did a good
show the world
move with her into our team. And even then it's harder. So then it's really important that you stay close, give them the trust, take it easy. It is what it is, and we're going to build to better times.
Gille, of course, I want to know what it's like in the business world. So I'm thinking, how do companies deal with a change, a setback, something that happens without losing that momentum?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities. First of all, I think confronting the problem head on. To Erwin's point, there's no point in creating fake news. It's not a bad thing that we didn't make this deadline, for example, because then you lose all credibility. Because why did we work so hard to get to the deadline?
Don't sugarcoat it.
Don't sugarcoat it. You just face the problem head on. But to Erwin's point, I think also in business, you want to protect the team. Like, it is a bummer that we didn't make it. On the other hand, nobody died. So what can we do to start building again? We diagnose the problem, you start designing for the next steps, and then you start implementing again. So quite some similarities.
I smiled because in sports, we're always a little bit more lucky when nobody dies than in the business world. But absolutely, Gille, I think something that I wonder is, when things go wrong, what do you think breaks first? And what do you have as a leader have to be very attentive for? Is it clarity? Is it people's energy? Is it maybe trust?
I think it starts with clarity, and that's where leadership comes in. How do you keep everyone focused on what needs to happen? Because if they don't have the clarity, if a team is looking or searching for clarity, they very quickly lose trust in their own capability, in the fact that they can move on. It's the same for the rider. Will I ever be the same again? And when they lose trust, they lose that energy completely. Yeah, so sure. It's exactly the same there.
I think the trust the process, I think we've talked about that as well. And maybe it'll come back later in the episode, but here it's very important as well that people don't lose their trust in the process.
Yeah, I think so. It's and it's something at a higher scale that you need to install in an organization. How do you get in a culture of where a failure as such is not an issue, but where we learn from it and where we then move on. And that type of process, I think that's something that leaders need to create, and that really creates organizational resilience.
But is resilience something that you can prepare for beforehand? Is it something you can train on?
I think in a certain way, yes. In a certain way, yes. We try we train a lot together, and it's important that you have ups and you have downs. So I think in a certain way we really train our riders to handle also big disappointments or big changes. That's if you look how many races we race in a year, and we won. For example, last year we won around 55 races, but more the races you race, you lose. So it's really important that they know to handle the disappointments every week again. So yes, I think you for sure can train it in a certain way.
And I think it's because I had to smile because you did it with us last year as sponsors, right? We had some record years, and you kept mentioning to me and Chloe, the CEO of SD Worx, don't expect this to be the same every year, which in a certain way is also building resilience. Like
that's true. That's true.
It's not always gonna be that we win every week. It's and I think that's the way you train your riders as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's also important. And we believe in winning races, and we believe in every time new targets. But it's not so easy. That's what you say. It's not so easy, and therefore. I think for sure in a certain way you can train.
Mm-hmm. Now, as a leader, we're talking about coping with setbacks, of course, as a rider, as someone who works in a team. But as a leader, maybe it's also important that you train for it or that you are resilient. Of course, that's important. So, Gille, I'm wondering, how do you cope with a setback personally? You keep up, and then when you get into your car, you're like, damn it.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
In a certain way, very close to it, Dorien. It's I think as leaders, we talked about it before, that creating clarity is important, and creating a certain environment of safety for your people, so you can't start to freak out when everyone is
That's
there.
What I mean, of course. So you need to be calm on the outside.
Indeed. The key word for me is remaining composed.
Okay.
So you confront the situation head on, but you don't panic, you don't freak out, and in the evening you go for a run, and then you can freak out on your own. But I mean,
or to your wife,
or to my wife, but then she also tells me, like, just calm down. It's not the end of the world. Yes, you faced a minor setback, but it's which also helps, right? The perspective of someone who's a bit further from it, to calm down and to stay composed.
Erwin, do you have an example, a specific moment where you really remember that you had to have those two faces, that you really kept strong in front of that rider, but inside you were thinking, this is really, really bad?
No, there we have of course several examples. But if you look to last year, when we had our journey with Julia Kopecký going for the yellow in the Tour de France, and that was a really big journey, and where we choose all four, including Lotte, of course. And then if you see, she had some injuries in the winter, of course. But if you, we saw then during the Giro d'Italia that should be very hard to go through with our plan for the yellow jersey. So then we sit together and talk with her and talk with her manager, and then of course inside it feels for all of us, but certainly for Lotte, as a kind of a failure. So we cannot go for yellow. So we make the decision that day that it should be better to take off the pressure, and we should not go for the yellow jersey. So inside it feels, of course, we all cried in a certain way, but from the other side, then you need to stay strong as a leader, because we did all. We need to analyze later what went wrong. And we choose now the best possible way to go to the Tour de France. And I think we make good choices, because we had several stage wins and we won the green jersey. And Lotte could also enjoy it in a certain way, this Tour de France.
A team effort.
Yeah, and I think as a leader, what Erwin did there for me showed what we talked about before. You called us, your sponsors, your stakeholders. You told us, look, guys, we've had this debate. Yeah. Tomorrow in the press, we're going to take off the pressure. So in the outside world, we will communicate to protect the rider and protect Lotte, which then I think gave the liberty to the team. So for me, that's exactly how you should behave in such a moment of crisis.
Yeah. So you have a lot of people to think about in that moment, Erwin?
Of course. It's of course not only the rider. The rider is for us at that moment really important. And sure, if it's one of your top riders. But of course, you need to think about everything. You know, media
press
will
and
come,
stakeholders and sponsors,
everybody. So
yeah.
But okay, that's the role from the leader.
It's part of the job.
Yeah.
Gille, is there one example? Because I love examples. Is there an example in the SD Worx world where that you want to share with us? That you say that was a pickle. That was something that I really took home that evening, and I thought, okay, how are we going to solve this?
Yeah.
A big setback.
Yeah, I had one, and by now talking, I had another one, so I'm going to go for that second one.
Choose.
Yeah, I'm going to choose. We had, with one of our products, so we sell HR services, but based on IT products. And as you know, IT, sometimes things go wrong. But with this particular product, we actually had almost never an issue. Over the last 10 years, it always was stable. Customers could rely on it. It was never down. But I arrived in the office one day and I met my chief technology officer, and I immediately saw on his face something was wrong. So they had been up from 5 that morning because the system was down. It was the end of the month, which means that we can't do the payrolls then, which has a big impact on our customers. And
which is the core business.
It's our core business. And in that sense, that's still okay. That happens from time to time. It's a moment of crisis. But throughout the day, we had all these crisis calls, and it's like almost a military protocol. Teams come in from around Europe from the group. And in the afternoon, around 2, we had a call, and I said, okay, look, guys, where are we? We're now 7 hours in the incident. And all of them looked at me and they said, we don't know.
Oh, wow.
And then they stayed silent. So these were all senior people. They had done that multiple times before. I'm not the IT expert. All of them are. And they just looked at me. What do we do now next? So for me, that was, let's say, a moment of crisis. And that moment where you say, okay, you need to stay composed. Because if I...
Well, what did you do?
I stayed calm and I said, okay, but then we look for everything what we have not tried yet. It's a very simple answer. In that sense, it's not rocket science. But I think your job is to stay calm and to just say, okay, we haven't found it. We continue. But that continued for 20 more hours. So that
was my next question. Yeah, when did it get resolved?
Yeah, we had a quick fix, which helped, but it stayed so unstable that throughout the night we had people staying on call the entire night and trying. But that's also when you see true leaders stepping up and true resilience of your organization. Because
interesting.
We had some people making very tough and very courageous decisions in that moment. So it's also a learning moment afterwards.
So we can say we get to know people in moments of crisis?
Sure.
I think it's a saying, or I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but...
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Also in the sports, you see when it's when there are big issues, then you see most of the time also in a group of riders, you see the real leaders also in that riders part. They stand up then,
and people can surprise you, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we fixed in that incident. We fixed things we had been trying for 2 years, and we had like very lucid people who said, "It's already bad. What can go wrong? I'm just gonna try."
Yeah.
And these were not people that I would have expected up front. It's like in the Peloton.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, someone stands up and
I can imagine. Yeah.
Now, for a young talent, Erwin, the pressure to prove yourself is huge. Yeah. That's the whole point. They want to prove something to themselves, to the world. Yeah. How do you cope with someone who's literally at the sidelines for a while? And how do you make them not lose that drive? Because that's what drives them, I can imagine.
Yeah. I must say it's not only for the young rider who is coming into a team and has an injury, or it's also for the experienced riders who are longer with us. And, so it's always a problem if they are gone for a while. So what we do then is to try in good contact. So there is every week contact with them, with the medical department, with the performance team, with the sports directors. So we really stay in really close contact. I think much more than in business most of the time. And then for us important is that we have a plan and that they have the trust in our plan, how we're going to build up to.
So they need new goals.
They need confidence, they need new goals, they need to feel safe, trust in the process. But that's really important. And we ask them also, for example, Julia last year, we asked them, come to a race. You go with us, or you go in the car with the soigneurs and you give bottles and this kind of thing. So keep in touch, also with the team. and that's what we try. Our DNA in the team is we are kind of a family-owned company. So there are short lines, and we try to really behave together like friends, like family. So for sure, if someone is going out for a while, really keep them close.
Yeah, and as Julia mentioned in the clip, I think social media and being online and with that smartphone, it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that you stay in touch, that you get to distract yourself. But if they see all of the other ones posting their amazing training of the day, I think that can be quite discouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, absolutely. For example, we are, let me say, a winning team. So luckily we win a lot. And if you are out then for half a year and you see your team winning and winning and winning, that is a nice feeling. But if you sit on the side, then it feels even harder. So that is what we need to protect them. So take them and have also make also a party if we win and not being only at home. So that's what we try.
You said that the SD Worx example was a teaching moment, Gille. And I know you a little bit now. I know that you're very confident, but you're very aware of where you can improve. Is there something you can share as a leader that you say, actually, if something ever happens like that again, I think that is something I would do a little bit differently? Is there something as a leader that you say, that was not the best thing I should have said or done?
Yeah, I think in that example, and building on what Erwin just said, in the morning I trusted the process maybe a bit too much. Because I saw that my CTO was freaking out, and I told him like, okay, trust the process, take your time, and you check in with me when you're stuck or whatever. But I didn't hear anything in the hours afterwards, and it's the moment that I stepped in around 2 in the afternoon. I didn't do anything that was rocket science, right? I just asked some questions. I put some additional people in the room, but I think it gave an additional boost. And it's that staying connected, staying very close. So if that would happen again, I would not wait 4 or 5 hours. I would really say, okay, and in an hour, let's meet.
Good
but
one.
I think, I was a bit too humble, as in I can't contribute content-wise to this problem, but just being there is also a contribution.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
We talked about immediate feedback. Maybe, Erwin, sometimes immediate feedback needs to become an immediate pep talk?
Sure. And for us in top sports, it's really important because you have every week you have new races, so it's really important to give directly after the race or directly after the injury. Analyze, look what can we do better next time? What did we learn, etc., etc. But then with a positive focus on the next race. So that means also a pep talk. Hey, okay, we're gonna kill them next week, for example.
We'll be back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for these insights. I just have a quick extra questions, but let's find out what Julia had to say finally about the team and the recovery.
Yeah, of course, partly of it is the medical team that helped me, guide me through the process of rehab. But also, I didn't feel so much pressure that I had to come back as quick as possible. It was the focus to make sure my knee was good again and not start racing too early and stuff like that, because then it's you can make it worse again. So it was nice that I didn't feel the real pressure, because of course as a young rider you wanna I wanted to show myself as quick as possible in a new team, but to feel that the team was still behind me and supporting me even though I was not on the bike every day, of course is also really helpful to keep my mind a bit easy. And my shape was getting better and better already the week before or week and a half at the Worlds in Rwanda. But it's amazing to have that feeling to be really part of the team. And even though, of course, I was riding in a different jersey, not the team jersey, but to be part of Lorena's win there and to do a good result myself and feel really good on the bike is super, super motivating. And I think it also helped me in the winter to get like the confidence back that you miss a bit during the season when you're focused on just getting stronger and stronger and stronger again. But then to also like show I am strong is, that's super motivating.
SD Worx. Well, it's clear that the support from the team was priceless for Julia. How is she now, Erwin?
I must say she's happy because she's on the bike pretty good again. So she had a really good trainings camp and now her first race last week. And yeah, we expect a lot from her. She's in good shape, really good mood. So follow her.
Yes, absolutely. We do. Gille, maybe one thing that you would steal from the cycling world into the business world after our conversation?
Yeah, I think celebrating success, like Erwin now says with Julia coming back, that's something we are celebrating. The victories we celebrate. But in business, that's typically something that we forget to do. We reach a target and we move on to the next one. So
that's true. Or we reach a deadline and it's evident, and then
it's seen as normal, which it should be. But at the same time, you also need to enjoy the wins.
It's still an achievement, of course. Maybe a question to both of you: how can we prepare for a setback?
I think you need to envision it. You need to acknowledge that it's a possibility, and then you're already a bit prepared. That and combining it with celebrating those successes, you know it's never gonna last. So there's always something that will come your way. So be prepared for it.
Okay, Erwin.
I think if you work hard as a team and as a rider, then you get more and more experienced, and then you can handle these moments always better and better.
Mm-hmm. And how about dealing with the setback? So post factum.
It's taking distance, I think, and how bad is it really? Assessing that situation and then trusting the process that you will recover from it. The only way is forward.
Bygones be bygones.
Yeah, I think what Gille said, that's in the sport and our team exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. And then a final question to you both, gentlemen. One thing that every leader should ask themselves once in a while, maybe every day.
For me, I take that from this conversation. Am I still close enough to my people? Do I really feel what their current mood is and whether I should step in, yes or no?
Good one.
Yeah, I think for us, is more of a has everybody around you, so in the team, rider staff, is there enough trust to work every day hard with each other? That's for me the most important one.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
With pleasure. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
And if I may sum up this episode, to achieve change, you have to confront the problem head on. And from there, it's trust the process. The good news is that resilience isn't just something you can hope for. You can maybe prepare for it by building routines, setting expectations, and creating a team rhythm that holds when the pressure rises. You might lose more races than you win. Well, that's not failure, that's reality. What matters is how you deal with the disappointment. And when a crisis hits, people may surprise you through their actions. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and discover the other episodes of People and Peloton about cycling and business at sdworx.com or your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, bye-bye. SD Worx.